Hello everybody, it's Emma here. Thank you for joining me today for our practice. We're going to do a locust inspired flow today. So all of our sun salutations will have locust pose instead of Sphinx, Cobra or upward facing dog. And then we'll come back at the end and practice locust for a few more extra breaths on its own. Okay, let's begin doing some cat and cow to start to get the spine ready for our practice. So come into your all fours position, wrists under shoulders, knees under hips, neutral spine, gazing down. When you're ready, inhale to drop the belly, lift the chest forward and tail up, gaze ahead. And as you breathe out, round your tailbone under and round through every bone in your back, bringing the chin to the chest and pushing into the space between your shoulders. Let's carry on. Inhale, drop the belly, gaze forward, lift up the tail. And as you exhale, belly up and in, tailbone under, round the back. And keep going. Let's do another 3 rounds. Do one more round, one more time into your cow stretch, and then a final time into cat. And come back to your neutral position in table. Good. Okay, from there, swing through and take a seated position. And let's do some lateral flexions of the spine. So bring your right hand outside your right hip and reach high with the left hand. And then flex the spine, reaching up and over to the right side. And keep reaching and maybe bend into your right elbow, maybe walk the hand away. You can turn the head to look up if you like. Take 3 more deep breaths. And then let's change over to the other side. So drop your left hand down and reach your right hand high. Flexing over to the left side, using your elbow and your hand to adjust how much depth you find in the pose. Option to turn the neck, gazing up. And let's stay for 3 more breaths here. Okay, let's breathe in, reach up, and from here let's take the right hand behind us and sweep the left hand to the right knee. Sit tall through the spine, take a big breath in, and as you breathe out, rotate the spine towards the right side, taking your gaze over your right shoulder, and stay here for 3 more breaths. Option to lengthen every time you breathe in, and twist a bit deeper when you breathe out. Go for 2 more breaths. And then come back through the center and over to the left side, left hand behind you. Hold on to the left knee with the right hand. Inhale to sit tall. And exhale to rotate. Long spine. And rotating as you breathe out. 3 more deep breaths. Okay, good. Let's come back to face forward. Okay, just roll the shoulders a few times. Okay. We're going to start to make our way to our feet now. So let's first of all come to downward facing dog. So bring your hands about shoulder width, but they could be a bit wider. Feet about hip width. Again, they could be wider. Spread your fingers out, push firmly down into your palms, and lengthen through your arms, your shoulders, and the sides of the body. Soften into the knees as much as you need to help you to lengthen out through the back. And even if you can bring your heels to the mat and you feel quite open in the back of the legs, you might still want to take a good bend in this first downward dog, just to work your chest and your tummy back in space. So have a little play around with your movements, do anything that feels good in this foundation. And let's stay here for 3 deep breaths. And now take your gaze forward and walk your feet to your hands. At the top of the mat, bring your fingers to your shins and lift your chest to halfway lift. Exhale to soften the knees and fold. And then inhale to reach your arms all the way up and overhead. Extended mountain pose, gaze up. And then exhale, hands to the heart, and then release into mountain. Okay, so we're ready to begin. These Sun Salutation A's will have Locust, they will have also a child's pose in them. So different to, if you practice with me regularly, different to the ones I normally teach, and they'll be a little slower. So I'll talk a bit more in the first one and then talk less in the second and third. So let's stand near the top of the mat in mountain pose. Take a moment to feel a solid foundation through your feet. Spread your toes out and connect all the corners of the feet. Firm up into the thighs, draw the navel to spine, relax the shoulders, and then elevate through the crown of your head. Finally, turn the palms gently forward, and then let's begin. Inhale to sweep your arms overhead, gaze up, and exhale to fold forward from the hips. Hands to the mat, bend the knees if you need to. Inhale, lift halfway, look forward. And hands to mat, step into a plank. So step all the way back, remembering you can do plank with your knees down. Shoulders over wrists, breathe in. Exhale, knees down, and then lower all the way to your belly. Untuck your toes, bring the toes together, big toes, arms at the side of the body. And then inhale to lift up as much of the body as you can, arms and legs. Exhale, come down, bring your arms in front of you, reverse corpse. Take a full round of breath in reverse corpse. And then bring your hands under your shoulders, push to your knees, and go back into a child's pose. Gently drop your forehead down. Take a full round of breath. Inhale to bring your weight forward, curl the toes, downward facing dog. Adjust your position as you need to. Now let's stay for 5. Spread out the fingers, push the mat away, lift high into your hips, soften into the knees. 3 more breaths. Good, gaze to your hands and walk or hop forward. Inhale, halfway lift. And exhale, forward fold. Inhale, reach your arms all the way up, overhead, extended mountain pose. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Hands to mat, step to plank. Big inhale in plank, find your alignment. Knees down, lower to the mat. Untuck the toes, bring the big toes to touch, arms at the sides. Inhale, lift into locust. Exhale, come down, reverse corpse for a single round of breath. Hands under the shoulders, curl the toes, push up. Oh, don't curl the toes, sorry. Push back to child's pose. A full round of breath in child's pose. Inhale the weight forward, curl the toes, downward facing dog. 5 breaths. Two more breaths. And then take your gaze to the top of the mat, walk or hop forward. And inhale, halfway lift. Lengthen. And exhale, fold down. Inhale, reach up, arms overhead, extended mountain. Exhale, forward fold, come down. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold down and plant your hands, stepping back into plank. Breathe in plank, keep everything strong. Exhale, knees down, elbows back, lower all the way to the mat. Big toes together, arms to the side. Inhale, lift, Cobra, not Cobra, Locust. Breathe in. Breathe out, come down, reverse corpse pose. Hands under shoulders, push up and go back, child's pose. Inhale, weight forward, curl the toes, downward facing dog. 5 breaths here. Let's take 3 more. And then take your gaze forward, walk or hop to your hands, and halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold, and inhale, reach up, extended mountain pose. Exhale, hands to the heart center, and release to mountain. Jolly good. Okay, now a Sun Salutation C. On the way out, we're going to keep it nice and simple with a low lunge. On the way back, we're going to add in a wide fold, a low runner's lunge, a twist, a half split, and a high lunge. So we'll do it all the way through with the right leg leading, and then all the way through with the left foot leading. Okay, let us begin. So the Sun Salutation will be exactly the same with the child's pose and the locust. So let's go. Top of the mat. Mountain pose. Inhale, extended mountain pose. And exhale, fold forward. Halfway lift, and step to plank. Big step back, breathe in plank. Exhale, lower all the way to the belly. Big toes together, arms to the sides. Inhale, locust. And exhale, come down, reverse corpse. Push up and back into child's pose. And inhale, come into downward facing dog. Take your gaze to the top of the mat. Walk or jump forward. Inhale halfway. And exhale, fold down. Inhale, reach up. And exhale, fold down. No comment. Inhale, halfway lift. Now we'll get it right. Right foot to the back of the mat and drop the knee down. Breathe in and sweep your arms into the air. I'm so sorry. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you didn't see the mistake. Thank you. So left knee is forward. We're reaching the fingers up to the ceiling. And maybe we'll tuck the tail under a little. So you'll feel a little more activation into your right hip area. And if you want, you can start to lift your chest and gaze up to the ceiling. And maybe gently draw your arms back in space, belly in. Okay, let's have one more inhale there. And exhale, frame your left foot. Pick up your back knee and go to plank, left foot back. Breathe in. Exhale, knees down. And lower all the way to the mat. Untuck the toes, big toes touch. Arms to the side. Inhale, locust. Exhale, come down. Bring your arms in front of you and rest for a breath. Okay, hands under shoulders. Push up and back. Child's pose. Inhale, downward facing dog. Okay, let's just stay in downward facing dog for a couple of breaths. And then take your right leg up and back, three-legged dog. You're going to come all the way into a wide fold. So step your right foot forward. Inhale and come up and bring your feet to parallel. So a nice wide step. You can go wider if you like. And then have your hands on your hips, belly in. Shoulders up and draw the shoulder blades in. And then let's take the hands behind the back. And inhale. As you exhale, hinge forward from your hips and come down into a wide fold. Taking your arms away from your lower back if you like, and reaching them up and over. Stay for another 3 deep breaths here. And a final round of breath. And then mindfully inhale to a halfway lift. Carefully release your hands to your back and then onto the mat underneath your shoulders. Inhale, lift halfway. And let's exhale and walk the right foot back to the top of the mat into a low runner's lunge. Okay, let's pop the left hand down on the mat. And inhale, reach the right arm up for a twist. Lengthen through the spine. Gaze at your fingertips. Another couple of breaths. And then gaze down, right hand to the mat. Okay, let's drop the left knee down and send the hips back for a half split. Point your right toes up to the ceiling and feel intensity along the back of the right leg. Option just for a couple of breaths is to hinge forward a little at the hips. Okay, inhale and come back into a low lunge shape. From here, we'll tuck the back toes, lift the back knee, and power up to a high lunge. Inhale your arms overhead. Okay, we're going to stay here for about 5 breaths. You can either keep your gaze forward, or you can start to lift your chest and gaze up. Maybe start to pull the thumbs back, keep your belly drawing in. Have another 2 breaths wherever you are. And then slowly bring your gaze forward if it was up. And exhale your hands to the mat. Keep looking forward and then bring your left foot forward. Halfway lift. And exhale, fold down. Inhale, reach up to extended mountain pose. And exhale, let's do all of that on the other side. Halfway lift, inhale. Good. Left foot to the back of the mat, low lunge. So drop the left knee down and breathe in. And sweep up the arms. So once again, look for that tuck of the tail. So you're bringing the hip under. You'll feel activation in the left hip flexor. Option to lift up into the chest, taking the gaze up. An option to pull the thumbs back, keeping the belly drawing in. And then from wherever you are, gaze is forward. Hands come down and let's step back to plank pose. Breathe in, knees and chest to the mat. Untuck the toes, big toes touch, arms to the sides. Inhale, locust. And exhale, reverse corpse. From reverse corpse, hands under shoulders, push back into child's pose. And then inhale, come forward, and back, exhale, downward facing dog. Just 2 breaths. And then left leg up and back to 3-legged dog. And step your left foot forward, and we're going to come up to a wide fold. I've got my back to you, beg my pardon. Inhale, lift the chest. Exhale, bring your hands behind you, wrap the shoulder blades in. Inhale, and exhale, forward fold here. Maybe taking your hands off your sacrum and bringing them up and over.
Soften the knees if you need. And try and challenge yourself by bringing your weight forward out of the heels. Another 2 breaths. Mindfully inhale to a halfway lift, hands back onto the sacrum. Then release your hands to the mat and walk it around to a low runner's lunge to the top of the mat, left foot forward. Okay, plant your right hand down and inhale, reach up and high with your left hand. Gaze up to your left fingers and stay for another 3. One more inhale and exhale, release the left hand to the mat. Okay, right knee down and then take the hips back, straighten the left leg. You can untuck the right toes if you like. Bring the left toes in and feel an intensity through the back of the left leg. Further option, hinge forward at the hips to intensify this half split more if you want to. You don't have to. Okay, let's walk it back to low lunge. Curl the back toes and lift the right knee. We're going to power up into high lunge. So breathe in as you come up, push down into your foundation, sweep your arms overhead, fingertips high. Okay, let's stay here for 5 breaths in total. With the option to stay where you are, start lifting the chest, lifting the gaze, pulling the thumbs back, keeping the belly in. Another 2. And then let's gaze back to face forward. Hands to mat. Look forward and bring your right foot to join the left. Last time in halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. And inhale, reach your arms all the way up and overhead. And exhale to mountain. And release your flow. Good. Okay, so now we're going to come back down to the mat. I'm going to do a few other things, including balancing table. No, not balancing table, balancing plank. We're not going to do balancing table. Balancing plank is a much harder version of balancing table. And it's harder because we've only got the connection of toes and one hand, whereas in balancing table we have the shin as well. So we'll try and stay for about 5 breaths. There's no guarantee that I'm going to be able to do it now. But I'll explain to you what it should look like, and then you can see how you get on. Okay, so we start in plank. I've been trying this pose with lifting the hand first, or lifting the foot first, or lifting both together. I haven't yet worked out which is the easier of the options, so maybe you want to try a few variations yourself. Maybe let me know. Okay, so my tips for this one are, don't have your feet too narrow. Definitely start with them reasonably wide. And then also make sure your shoulder is over your wrist. And then just enjoy it and don't take yourself too seriously. All right, let's bring the hands under the shoulders. We'll step the right foot back and then the left foot back. So once again, remember, don't have your feet too close. All right, let's bring the weight slightly onto the right hand. We'll lift up the right foot and then reach the left arm forward. Okay, stay for another 3 breaths. And then hand and both knees to the mat. Come off the wrists. I don't know why I thought it was a good idea to put this in this video. Okay, let's have another go on the other side. So let's step the left foot back and the right foot back. So remember, not too close together. Bring the weight onto your left hand. Lift the left foot and send the right arm forward. Another couple of breaths. And then hand and both knees to the mats. Let's come off the wrist. Give them a little wriggle. Good job. Okay, let's forget about that. And we'll come down and do another couple of locusts. So what I want us to do when we come down to the locust is to do a one-legged lotus first, just to practice keeping the hips down and also thinking about doing the length as well as the lift that's important in locust. And then we'll do another locust that we'll hold, and then we'll move on. Okay, so let's lie face down. And let's bring the right elbow and the right forearm forward. And then I want you to lift up your left hip and bring your hand, with the palm up, under your left hip crest, so the top of the hip. Bring the big toes to touch and gaze down at the mat. I want you to keep your hip pushing into your hand, point your toes away, and then lift the left foot up and back. But really focus on pointing your toes away so you're creating as much length through the leg as you can. Stay for 3 more breaths. 2 more breaths. And 1 more inhale. Exhale, bring your foot down. Okay, let's swing the left arm forward and take the right hand under the right hip crest. Big toes touch to begin, gaze down. And then push your right hip into right hand and lift and point. So keep that connection with your hip and your hand. Focus on lengthening as well as lifting. Last 2. 1. And exhale, bring it down. Let's rest in reverse corpse for a few breaths. You might want to give your hips just a gentle wriggle. Okay, last but not least, we'll practice a locust. We've done loads of locusts already in our salutations, but we'll stay in one now for about 5 breaths. So big toes touching. Bring the arms to the sides of the body with the palms facing up. And we'll try and keep the big toes together or really close. Think about spinning your thighs inwards, gaze to the mat, and then on an inhale, lift as much of your body off the mat as you can. So your shoulders and arms, your toes, your shins, your knees, maybe parts of your thighs. Try and keep your big toes together. And stay for another 3. And 2. Last breath in. And exhale. Return to reverse corpse. This time you might want to curl your toes, have a little wriggle. Okay, so you should be able to feel quite a lot of energy moving around now in the body, which is good. I'm going to come into a child's pose now, but I don't want you to go into your deepest child's pose. Just very gently push up and sort of towards the shape of a child's pose without going really deep. So you might want to keep your toes tucked. And just gently sending your hips back. Release the lower spine. Okay, walk yourself into a tabletop. Final pose, we're going to do Dolphin. So let's have the shoulders over the wrist to begin, knees under hips. And then drop your elbows under your shoulders. Line up your forearms, so forearms are parallel. And then let's curl the toes under. Push the shoulders away from the mat. And then lift up into your hips. Gaze between your thumbs. And then maybe, without collapsing into the shoulders, maybe walk the toes towards the elbows. Looking forward or back if you don't like the feeling for your neck. Okay, let's stay for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. If you walked your feet in, walk them back. Take your knees down and release into a child's pose. You can drop your head. And let's stay for about 6 breaths. Okay, so from here, from child's pose, you could either slide forward and come into reverse corpse and stay in reverse corpse for a little while, or you could come up and spin around and relax down to your back and take constructive rest or shavasana. And stay in a resting position for as long as you have time, so that you can let the benefits of the practice settle into your body and into your mind as well. Thanks for practicing with me this short video. I hope to see you again on the next video very soon. Om Shanti.